was your most memorable performance moment, and how did that relate to the music you were playing? Like, what was your favorite?
Well, favorite, okay, because you said memorable.
Yeah. There's a big difference there.
Positive way.
Positive way.
Okay, what was your best performance that you think that was your best and the most rewarding, and how does it relate to the music you were playing?
It's a good question. It's just that we've got to go back through the calendar a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a really difficult question.
It is.
There's,
Go back to the first question.
The memorable, memorable includes when I had a quartet for a while. When the whole quartet, we were staying somewhere. Host person had, I think it's not where we were staying, thankfully, but this host person had been assigned to feed us before this concert, and we'd traveled all day to get this concert. And we walked in this house, and it was disgusting. It was disgusting. It was filthy. And we sat down for this meal, and it was awful. It didn't taste right. There was like dog hair all in the soup.
Oh.
It was awful. And so we're starving. We're 22 or 20. We're starving. And there's this beef stew full of dog hair. We went out in the middle of nowhere.
and beef, I guess.
And we barely made it on stage that night. There was a lot of running around backstage. We'll leave it there. But that was memorable.
Well, okay, so I'm a composition major, and that's why I wanted to know, like, what made you, how that relates to the music you're playing in a positive experience.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta stick to that.
Do you have like one or two, maybe? One or two?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
I have something that comes to mind. But, what makes a performance a really positive experience? Grows out of many different aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps I'm thinking of a performance with a group that I played for a long time with, a concert over having the world premiere of a piece that had gotten a lot of news coverage, so there was a lot of build, a lot of excitement around it. It was a piece of Steve Reich, his first multimedia opera, I guess it's so been labeled, The Cave. And there was just a lot of hoopla surrounding it. But really one of the things that made it so memorable is just the very, very special and unique chemistry of the players as musicians and the players as friends. So to share that with this particular group, and the piece that the performance, it was in Vienna, a beautiful spring day, a long time ago now, and it was perfect. And there was an energy afterward that it was really electric, and a feeling that I'll never forget. And we like to have those sorts of experiences every time we play. But that's not the way life works. But we certainly register and we remember them for reference.
The thing is, when in performance, so much of what colors the performance is how well we feel like we've played. Most of my most sort of treasured moments with music not taking place in the performance, but in the practice room and in the rehearsals and sort of in that side of things. And the performance is always, often there's great moments where there's flow and everything's going great, and that relationship with the music is really working. But that's it is what we're trying to do every time. And so in terms of memorable, and positive, and negative, though, what from performances, it tends to just be, my most positive ones are the ones where I played real well. And either particular audiences or there was particular pressure and I was able to do it. And then, but really the ones one tends to think of are the ones with unusual circumstances, or the time my car broke down on the way to the recital and rain like I don't know if I've ever seen since. And I had to walk half a mile. I just left the cello in the car because I figured, well, probably no one's going to steal it. And I had to walk out to my friend's house, whose lower floor was a foot deep in water. So they were all. It was very interesting there. And then and I finally, like by the time it was all done, I showed up at the school and it was time to play the recital. And it was terrible. I mean, I played terribly. Unfortunately, there's not like a happy ending, but it went really, really well. It was, and positive things are just like times I sort of felt particularly good. I have to say, playing with orchestra is always a treat. It's just a very special treat. Even not feeling great about how you play with orchestra is still like very memorable and exciting to have done and been a part of.
Do you mean being part of an orchestra or
no, I mean solo?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think about a slightly different take on all that. I mean, I agree with Alex that probably my most moving memories of when I'm playing have been in rehearsals. Mm-hmm. Not in, because there's so many things you're focused on in the performance. About the chairs squeaking and how you're going to hit the shift. And, no, come on, I mean, it's so, and in rehearsal when you can do something a couple times and really tweak it and just be in the moment with, that's, I can think of rehearsing back when my quartet many years ago was learning the Heilige Dank from Beethoven's, like, there was a moment in there. And there was some, my grandfather had just died, and there were all these other things going in my life at that moment, and I'm sure that played into it, kind of the emotional attachment I developed. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I could say that at different moments in my life when something significant has been happening to me personally, I've noticed that the music I learn around that time will still sometimes draw that emotion out of me, whether I'm playing or whether somebody else is playing it. There are moments playing in a big orchestra, in a small orchestra, but also in a big orchestra, when you kind of get swept away by this sound, there's this, you just can't kind of help it, you're just going with it, and it's all this sound surrounding you, and you're part of this thing that's bigger than yourself, and all those sorts of things. And when that's working, that can feel so great.
My first Rite of Spring, my first Mahler 5.
Yeah.
Those were amazing experiences.
I had a student who I had worked with for a long time and was fairly close to, and he was going off to Cleveland Institute to study composition. And his kind of goodbye present was a violin sonata he wrote for me. It was beautiful. He's a very good composer. And so just in terms of being connected to a particular piece in a performance, that was pretty moving because he was out there with his whole family and all his friends, and everybody in the audience knew, the whole story. And so that has a certain kind of connection. Knowing he's out there, knowing, that's